All right. My name's Aidan MacQueen. I am the vocalist of Losing Sight, and I'm here with Justin. And we got together and did the Musiclious 2023 at Palasad. They got some sick food named after some local bands, and what we ate was the Full Throttle All I Want burger. That thing was sick as hell. And then Justin had that Trash Puppets, the Dynamite Chicken Sandwich, and then we shared the Lovers Summer Heat Pizza, and that's probably my favorite pizza in London right now, to be completely honest. So yeah, and then we got together, talked about the LGBT community and the impact of music, so enjoy.
How are you? Not bad at all. How are we doing?
Good, thank you.
Here's our feature. That's our Dynamite Chicken Sandwich.
Nice.
This is our Summer Heat Pizza. And I have a burger in the window that I'll be right back for.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No worries at all.
Damn.
First.
Let's go for the pizza because
It's a conversation.
yeah. I think this is the personal sized one.
Yeah.
So this has garlic oil, jalapeno cream cheese, cheddar cheese, fresh jalapeno, panko bread,
It's that ranch on
ranch drizzle.
Let's be honest, ranch goes with pizza.
I'm not a huge fan of ranch.
Oh
but
no?
Let's see how it is. It's the most popular one, so
Yeah.
And here's an all I want burger.
Nice.
thank you.
Thank you.
So, can I grab anything else for us?
No.
Out here.
I think this is good.
Beverages.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Chicken burger.
The all I want. Oh yeah, this one's the chicken. That's the dynamite chicken, and then that's all I want.
Yeah, this is the one I can't eat.
Okay.
Nice. Perfect. I'm stoked for pizza.
Me too. I guess we'll try it first, and then we'll
Yep.
go with the questions.
I dig it.
I'm tasting the ranch a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why I fuck with it. And now I'm also like a huge baby for spice, but like I like this spice because it's not the kind that like lingers.
Yeah.
Because again, baby. So,
Also, you've never had a Da Bomb hot sauce?
no, that sounds like suicide. I'm not doing that.
Heartburn.
That too.
I've gotten it in my eyes before.
Oh god.
The first time I had it, I actually got it in my
We're
eyes.
doing a Steve-O skit? Like,
No. I guess part of it, some of it got on my fingers, and then I was rubbing my eyes.
it's a rookie mistake. Can't say I haven't done that, but I've definitely done that.
The second bite, I'm getting more of the flavors. I think I'm used to different jalapenos, so I don't think they're as spicy as I'm used to. But still good. Out of 10, what would you rate it?
I give it a 7.
I'd probably go an 8.
Yeah?
It's not. Yeah. Could be spicier, but I think overall it's pretty good.
That pulled pork burger is just staring at me, though.
Okay. How do you feel the LGBTQ plus community is represented in the local music scene and overall industry? If it's easier to form your answer by repeating the question or
I
in the
feel
form of an answer?
the representation in the scene, like, that I've seen, right? Like, me growing up, I didn't see a lot of it, if I'm being completely transparent. And with what I do now, like, I wanted to be someone that, like, 16-year-old me would have wanted to see.
Yeah.
Like, I started going to all ages hardcore shows when I was 16. And those hardcore shows essentially saved my life because it got me off the streets. But at that time, I was a heavily closeted homosexual and grew up in a small community as well, and the toxicity of organized religion. So at that time, definitely, I can say that there was more visibility would have helped me. Now, I hope I can be that for someone. And on top of that, like, I have a few friends as well that are in bands that are in the community. One band I can think of is Susan's. They're a sick punk band here in London, and like the visibility I see when they're on stage, and I'm like, fuck yeah, right? Like, they're all things I wish I saw more when I was younger. So now I see more of it, which I'm really stoked about. Now at large, if we go to the large scale, like if we look at Sam Smith at the Grammys with Kim Petras, like, Kim Petras was the first trans woman to win a Grammy. That's freaking amazing, and I loved the performance. And, like, all the haters, whatever, they can screw right off. But
Yeah.
but that performance was amazing, and the visibility is what's important, right? Because even me watching it, like, I love it, seeing it on the screen, in people's faces, right? Like, we're here, right? We have a voice, and we're going to sing our asses off, whether you like it or not. So that's what I love about it. That's what I see now. And in the hardcore scene, the scene that I primarily go to all the time, right? Like, there's touring bands now, like See You Space Cowboy. That's one really sick band. They came through London, I forget how, not that long ago. But again, visibility, right? The band rips too, and then obviously growing up Against Me was a
Yeah.
big one, right? And seeing that LGBTQ representation within my scene was super impactful for me.
I think they were the first ones that I saw in the industry.
Yeah,
I think they actually opened up for Billy Talent in like 2008 or something.
yeah, that's when it was the JLC, right?
Yeah. And I do know of See You Space Cowboy through Lil Lotus.
Okay.
They did a or
If
Lil Lotus.
If I Die First.
Yes.
Yeah, that band.
He did that, and I think they did collaboration EP.
Yep.
With See You Space Cowboy. So.
Yeah, I like that like dissonant chord, like old school, like early 2000s metalcore sound
Yeah.
they have. It's sick.
So, should we move on to another one?
Oh yeah, that burger, Jesus.
We'll switch burgers. You get
Deal.
this one.
What band is this again? Oh, I got the Full Throttle.
Yeah.
Nice. and you got trash buckets.
Maybe I will cut it in half.
Normally, I don't like pickles on burgers. However, because of this interview, I'm going to do it.
Oh, okay.
And also, Aidan from the band Falsifier, I remember him telling me once that he freaking loves pickles on all his burgers, so I'm going to do it
Because I am.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, I really like this one. I think it's the spice.
Yeah. You're all about the spice. What spice are you working with? Buffalo hot sauce.
I think it's Frank's,
And
which
hot,
is good.
and hot banana peppers. Full throttle. It's just a good old fashioned burger with pulled pork.
And beef.
I like it.
How do you express representation within the music you put out? I know it might be an odd question, but because of the amount of time between the first one and this one.
With I know a lot of like my experience being a gay man, it comes out in the lyrics, especially on that. If I'm being honest, in a lot of the songs, they're relative. So a lot of it can be self-loathing and all that. And then the reason why I'm writing that, I'm in a very good place now, mentally, spiritually, and all that. But I wanted to make sure I write and communicate my experiences when it wasn't good, because it was just kept inside of my brain so much, and I had no way to let it out.
Yeah.
So a lot of it comes out within the lyrics, right? Some of it, a lot of it talks about like the mental health, and like another thing too is like I'm an example of someone in the community that had substance abuse issues. I was an alcoholic, drug addict. I've been clean for some time, but I'm a part of that statistic.
Yeah.
Right? And along with the mental health, like my mental health got real bad too at one point. So I'm a part of that statistic of someone within the LGBTQ community with the mental health issues, substance abuse issues, and I wanted to communicate that. And a lot of it can be very literal when you read the lyrics, right? Because I wanted to be able to communicate, like, wanted to make it feel like you're almost there,
Yeah.
right? So it is pretty dark, some of it, honestly. However, like in the live performance, it goes back to what I was saying about visibility, and I think there's been 2 shows where I forget it, but I the guys in the band and I, we always want to paramount that we hang the inclusive pride flag off the bass cab. Because, like, again, goes back to what I said. If 16-year-old me came into a hardcore show and saw that flag hanging off of a band that plays breakdowns, the shit I like, then I'd feel way more welcome, right? And if I remember, because when I'm on stage, I just black out. I never plan what I'm going to say, but I try to remember to at least point it out or say something in relation to it, right? Because, again, the visibility... right? If you're in the LGBTQ community, you're safe at a losing sight show. Right? And that's what I want communicated whenever we perform.
Yeah.
So.
Are there any LGBTQ plus musical influences you have, whether in the local scene or the overall music industry? I know you mentioned some bands.
Yeah, Laura Jane Grace is a huge one, if I'm being honest. Susan's, like I said before. In the broader sense, I mentioned Sea Space Cowboy, but it wasn't even like people being... When I was growing up, again, didn't see a lot of people being out in the heavy music. However, when I would see bands like incorporate fashion, right, and some femininity as well into their imagery, so bands like AFI, like when they came out with like December Underground, like seeing that, like the femininity, the makeup and all that, and then also 18 Visions when they were doing the fashion and all that, I really gravitated towards that as well. But a lot of like the LGBTQ musicians, when I was heavily closeted, like it's sad to say now, but like I had the heavy stuff, and then I had like my gay playlist that I listened to in private, right? And one album that I listened to when I was heavily closeted was actually Troye Sivan's Blue Neighborhood album. It came out in like I think like 2015, and I listened to that a lot, and like just wallow by myself. And I just like the storytelling in that album. It had its time and place for me. And it's one album, even now if I go back to it, so there's times I can go back to those emotions that I was feeling. Some of the songs are more celebratory now even. So.
Almost like a safe space now?
Yeah, absolutely.
How accepting has the local scene been to you?
Everyone I have associated with has been amazing, if I'm being completely honest. Now, in saying that, I always have to keep in mind also my privilege, right? Like I'm a cisgendered white man, and yes, I happen to be gay, right? And it's not the same at large in the community in general, not even like the LGBTQ community, but the community for BIPOC folks, trans folks, right? And I haven't seen issues at shows, right? And which is why I try to make it paramount, even in the small things, whether it be hanging a pride flag, saying something about it, that all folks in the LGBTQIA+ community feel safe at shows. I haven't seen any issues. If I hear about it, I'm not going to like it, and if it's happening in front of me, I will address it, and incidentally, I know the people in the band I'm in, they will address it as well, because I can tell you firsthand they're amazing allies. So that's been my experience thus far.
Is there anything the industry needs to fix in regards to its representation of the community?
It's to fix. I wouldn't say fix. No. I don't think there's really anything to fix of it. It's just more,
Yeah.
right? And by more, a safe space doesn't necessarily have to be four walls, right? It's the people, right? And if you continue to build a community of like-minded people, right, then that safe space grows and grows and grows. That community grows and grows and grows. So I don't think there's anything really to fix. I think there's just more work to be done on visibility, more advocacy.
I think Lauren from Monstrosa said something similar in her answer to that.
Yeah.
So. What are some of the positive aspects of the representation the industry has in the community?
Some positive aspects the industry can have. Well, like I said, I have been going to all ages hardcore shows since I was like 16, right? And in the world now, there are people, places that are not allowing all ages LGBTQ events, i.e. drag shows, right? And so, which is wrong. And if I have that platform, I have that stage, it's an all ages show, I'm flying that fucking flag, right? And I'm gonna say something about it, right? Because if there is another queer kid, LGBTQIA plus kid that comes through, right, that can't go to the frickin' drag show, right, because for whatever reason, then I can at least provide some visibility for them, right? Just because some venue has some bullshit rule against it, right? Thankfully, the community in London is very supportive of each other, like the LGBTQ community, so there are more all ages shows, right? So, but that's one thing that comes to mind that I can think about.
Toronto's kind of like that, and I think, again, Lauren had a similar kind of answer. It might not have been exactly the same, but similar. Is there a song, whether written by you or another band, that you feel best represents you and your identity?
That whole Blue Neighborhood album by Troye Sivan really hit home at one point. But maybe not my identity, but in the realm of like what it feels like, if I go back to Against Me, even the song like True Trans Soul Rebel, I do not identify as trans, I am not trans. But even like those beginning lyrics in that song, like all dressed up with nowhere to go, walking the streets all alone and carrying on, that first verse, I remember listening to that when I first got sober, and it like really resonated. And even their song Crash Unreal, that was my frickin' life at one point. I was puking on dance floors, I would being belligerent and all that, so that really resonated with me as well. So, but identity, I play in a heavy band and we play breakdowns and a lot of moshing, but a lot of my influences are pulled from music that isn't necessarily hardcore or metal, right? And if I'm being completely honest, like the drag community in London and even just watching drag, that has helped a lot, even like with my confidence in who I am, right? Because when you see those folks do what they do, like it's beyond impressive, right? And hearing them talk, advocate, and all those things, like it builds me up seeing it, right? It makes the community stronger because the drag queens have been on the front lines, right? So
For who knows how long.
yeah, since the beginning, and being surrounded, because my partner is a drag queen, and incidentally through my partner I have befriended a lot of other drag queens and drag performers, right, and amazing people, and again, hearing them talk, interacting with them, and becoming friends with them, I'm beyond thankful and grateful for that, and it makes me feel a stronger sense of community for it. They make me stronger, honestly. So
I think I've actually seen a few drag shows, but way back in like 2014.
yeah,
So
yeah, there's a sick one coming up. There's a few sick ones coming up. It's Pride. Jesus, what am I talking about?
I just don't follow those as much, so I don't know when they were. So this one, yesterday I kind of had to change the wording up a little bit. In some cases, does it seem like a gimmick that artists, or I guess more so it would be the labels that use that to gain popularity?
I haven't seen it with the people I interact with, like in the music scene. Like if you're queer, you're gay, if you're trans, you are, right? There's no gimmick. You're being authentic. You're being you. So the visibility is what's important, right? The authenticity of it and being yourself. Now, if it's a gimmick, the fans and people taking in that media will be the first to see it.
Yeah.
And I know for me and like other people I know, we know bullshit when we see it, right? So, and there's a long history of like queer baiting in media as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like people that are not part of the community using the community, whether it be to obtain more likes, however it may be. It's all some facade.
Yeah, that kind of came up too, where it was like corporations just opt in, but then they're not really, I guess, supportive. It's more of like a tax benefit type thing if they opt into this. What are your thoughts on that?
Allyship is not supposed to be easy, and they want to have the easy way of being an ally and getting money. Allyship isn't just putting up the colors in your front window and not saying anything, not doing anything, just being like, there's the flag for 30 days, and then taking it down and acting, oh look, we did our job. And allyship is standing up with the community. Allyship is listening, and even if you're in the community, same thing, listening.
Yeah.
Right? And that's my golden pick. Allyship is not supposed to be easy. You're not just waltzing along.
Yeah.
Want to be an ally? Here's the front line. Walk with us. So.
Yeah. I'll let you finish that, but I know I'm kind of rushing through them.
Oh, it's a good.
In your opinion, how do you feel the community as a whole is represented in media such as film, video games, TV, and even literature?
Have you ever watched the documentary Disclosure?
No.
I'd check it out if I were you.
Okay.
It outlines the history of trans people and how it's portrayed in media.
You doing okay out here?
Yep.
Yeah?
Real good.
You want a refill?
Could I have a water?
Water?
Thank you.
No, I'm good.
You're good.
Sure,
Thank you. And what I appreciate now more so is like there's not a lot of victimization of the community. I have seen more of a celebration of it. Right? Success stories and all that. Like, for example, I watched with my partner the movie Bros a couple days ago, which is a gay rom-com.
Has anybody come to check on you?
Yes, we're getting water.
Perfect. Getting waters. Everything
Yes.
else going all good?
Oh, yes, thank you. So, watched the movie Bros, and it's a gay rom-com. And, like, the typical rom-com script, like, the cheese factor is through the roof, but, like, I loved it, right? Because, again, growing up, I did not see any gay rom-coms, and I got to see a gay rom-com where I can watch it with my partner, and we're like, we can identify with exactly what's going on. So I do see a progression in that sense as well. And incidentally, like, more LGBTQIA musicians, right? And as I mentioned at the beginning, like Kim Petras, winning her Grammy and all that, and RuPaul basically owns TV now. There's so many, and I'm all about it. I've seen all of COVID has been RuPaul's Drag Race, like, in my face, just constant. Like, I started at season 1, and
Whatever season they're out now.
jeez, and so I love it. More media. I want more of it.
Yes, we didn't rate our burgers. I rated that Full Throttle burger a 9 because I am a sucker for the beef with the pulled pork, and it was freaking delicious. So, what did you rate that Dynamite Chicken Sandwich, the Trash Puppets?
I honestly can't remember.
Was it a 9?
Yes, it was a 9.
Yes. Yeah, you were really digging that one. So.
It was the sauce.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the sauce for you. Yeah, and then that pizza I think I gave it a 7.5. I'm also, like, a huge critic for pizza, so, like, I'm gonna rate it hard, but damn, it was good. The jalapeno cream cheese that's what made it for me. We talked about privilege a bit, and what I was gonna say about that is, my experience being in the LGBT community is my experience, yes, but it is based in privilege, and my experience is not the LGBT experience. There's other folks in the community that experience marginalization and barriers that I don't experience, and even in social settings as well. Like, I am not a femme presenting person. I have a partner who is a drag queen, and even the experience that they face when we're out in the community is far different than what I experience. And I always want to be able to highlight that it is the LGBT community, right? And my experience, like I said, is not the experience, and it's good to highlight those things and the barriers and marginalization they face. It goes right to healthcare, right? Even housing, the marginalization they face, and those things need to be talked about. They need to be addressed. Housing is a right. Trans rights are human rights, and it all boils down to that for me. So I wanted to talk about that because, like, obviously I'm in the hardcore scene, and drag is another form of entertainment and art that's all the way over there. But for my queer experience being in the community, and incidentally having an art form that I can express myself in, being surrounded by drag queens, having a partner that is a drag queen, and seeing them do what they do for the community, the impact it has had on me is immensely positive. It's almost like the words can't really be expressed. Like, watching them do what they do, the advocacy, right? Like, they're at the front lines, and they've always really been at the front lines, and then it makes me feel stronger, and it makes me feel like my voice is more important when I'm around them, right? And I learn from them, right? The art expression, the way they express themselves, it makes me more comfortable to express myself in my everyday life. going forward. And it even boils, there's this one drag queen, they were on RuPaul's Drag Race, but they are my favorite drag queen, and it's Katya Zanalechikova. And what impacted me the most about them is how openly they talked about drug addiction and being a recovery meth addict and all that. And it gave me the strength pretty much to be like, oh wow, they can do it, I can do it too. So if people ask, I'm an open book. Like, I'm sober, I'm clean, I did it all right. And if I wasn't sober, I would not be in a band. And incidentally, if I did not see Katya openly just talk about that, I wouldn't have the strength to be able to talk about that openly. So that's pretty much, that's like a sliver of like a huge impact that drag has had just on me as a queer person, an LGBT person, and how it incidentally it impacts the music I make as well. Just getting on stage, having the confidence to do it, snap into like this different character when I'm on there. I like black out entirely. So what I wanted to get across with that, and like why I think it's so important, is that there's a lot of substance use and substance abuse in the LGBT community, and I think the visibility of seeing another LGBT person that is sober is so important. And like I said before, seeing Katya just talk so openly about it, right? It was my experience back when I was drinking and all that. I'd go to those establishments, or even when I was engaging with other people in the community, like I was loaded all the time and being disingenuous with myself, because I was putting on a fake. It was back when I was closeted, putting on this face of like going to meet up with these people, but then like as soon as that's done, I'm drinking to medicate myself to go have the confidence to go do that, and then I'm leaving that, and then I'm putting back on my straight face, and I'm drinking because then I'm not being genuine with myself and I'm not being authentic. And finally reaching a point, it's been about 4.5 years-ish or so, but finally reaching that point of like putting everything down, stopping the drugs, stopping the cocaine, stopping the booze. I don't smoke weed. Like I don't do, my biggest thing now is nicotine and caffeine. And even then I've noticed like the plug and play, I play with my addiction even in that regard, but still back to the point, like I haven't felt this authentic and genuine with myself ever. And I feel like the sobriety is what is the biggest part of it, and it's honestly the most important part of it, because without my sobriety, there will be no Losing Sight, there will be no band, there will be a very unhealthy me. I can't even tell you what decisions I would make, because as soon as I put one drop of alcohol in me, my decision-making process is left, right, up, down, who frickin' knows. It's completely all over the place. So I always, if I'm asked, I do talk about it because it is important. There are a lot of people who go down that path. A lot of people die as a result of their addiction. And incidentally, I am a part of that statistic. I am a LGBT person who is an addict. I am now sober, thank God, and if I can even spread that message, whatever, and if it can affect one person, then I did my job. And that's how I feel about it, if I'm being completely transparent. So the band started in January of 2020, right before COVID, and we had like all these prospects and aspirations of like being show ready by fall. And we all know what happened, and I'm not going to get into it, but we just started practicing and writing a lot. We practiced for like 2 years, just the same songs all the time. We wanted it to be show ready, and we wanted to come out swinging when that time came. And looking back now, I'm very thankful for that time, because Jameson, Greg, Matt, and I, we were able to connect a lot and build what we wanted to build. And it started with the whole band thing. It started with There was two things. There was Matt and I talking, then it was Jameson and Matt talking. But like, Jameson and I didn't know that we were both talking to Matt, and Matt and I were writing, and then Matt would be talking with Jameson about like the song structure and all that, and building these things, and then we were just like, why don't we just start the three of us doing it? So that's how that started, and then we found Greg on he would always do these drum videos of him playing songs, and he was sick. So then we asked him, and he said yes, and it's been the four of us since the very start. And we released, I forget when we released Myriad, it was back in like 2022. We did Fear of Death first when we backpedal in 2021. And then Myriad was the single in 2022, and we just released Vehement in April of this year with Mike Parson from Cold Shoulder and Street Justice. And Street Justice is like this sick vegan straight edge band. And now we have a show lined up July 30th with Teeth and Great American Ghost. They're doing this Canadian run up all the way up through Ontario into Quebec, so I'm stoked as hell for that one. And Falls for the Elderly is opening on the London date that we're playing, so yeah. And I guess like our biggest influences would be one thing. God, we really like breakdowns and riffs, and we really like that like mid 2000s kind of like metalcore sound. So like bands like It Dies Today, Bury Your Dead, On Broken Wings, Martyr AD, love that kind of shit. And then incidentally like the newer bands, pardon me, like Kublai Khan, Body Snatcher, Knock Loose, obviously you can hear it in some of our riffs, even like just those bands that I've mentioned. So that's just like kind of to name a few of like where we are coming from in that regard. We love the breakdowns a lot. We are not reinventing the wheel. The wheel's been made. We just wanna have fun, and that's why we started this thing, is to have fun, no expectations, and that's why we're at where we're at. That started in April 2022. We played with Cold Shoulder and Flashback, which is this sick like new metal band from Saskatchewan. And we were talking, right? We played our set, and Cold Shoulder always rips when they play. But Mike was watching our set, and then he came up to us and said he dug it and all that, and that he would love, if the time came available, to be on a song. And obviously, we're huge Cold Shoulder fans, and we've always loved their music, and we said, hell yeah. So, over time, like, just finding the right song for Mike to be on, finally came up with Vehement. As soon as we wrote it, and then, like, I wrote the lyrics, and then we found the break where Mike could kick in, where, like, it was unanimous amongst the four of us. We were like, that's the part. And then Mike, such a gem of a human, sent him the song. I was like, you do you. Like, I'm not giving you any, we love what you do, so, and then he got on there and ripped it. So, a lot of us are very busy people, so I don't know, after this Teeth, Great American Ghost show, nothing that I can really say show related right now, but we are writing more. We're always really writing, to be honest, but we have a lot of stuff in the workshop and in the bank, honestly. We have some songs that we're sitting on, so we will get together at some point. I will do the lyrics to them, because a lot of the songs are like pretty much done structure-wise and all that. I just have to go in and demo it, and then we'll actually properly record it. So, all right, and I'll be sure to make your way down to the Palasad SocialBowl. They have the Musiclious 2023, or the Forest City London Music Awards as well. They have a wide array of food named after some sick local London bands. And the bands that are on there are Mall Crimes, Full Throttle, Trash Puppets, Moffat Avenue, Lovers, Junko Daydream, and the Mono Negatives. And so go get your grub on. We already did. It was delicious, so